In the dead of night, an eerie silence blanketed the small, unsuspecting town. It was a silence that held secrets darker than the deepest shadows in the alleys. Picture this, a love triangle so tangled, it ensnared the lives of those caught within, leading to consequences that were both unexpected and irreversible. The kind of consequences that do not just alter lives, but end them. In a world where passion can transform into an obsession, a charming wife finds herself at the center of a story dripping with intrigue, deceit, and tragedy. But this is not just any tale of love gone awry. This is a disturbing narrative where the lines between love and betrayal blur, and darkness seeps into every corner. As we unravel this mystery, imagine unlocking the hidden motives lurking behind seemingly ordinary smiles, and exposing the shattered facade of a marriage that spiraled into chaos. Prepare yourself to delve deep into a narrative that asks one haunting question: how far would you go for love, when love itself becomes a shadowy labyrinth leading to death? Stay with us as each twist uncovers a deeper layer, and discover the extraordinary truth awaiting just beneath the surface of a town now forever changed by the depths of a wife's dark love triangle. Her name was Isabella, a woman whose presence was as captivating as the most intricate pieces of art. Isabella possessed an allure that seemed to draw everyone into her orbit. With eyes that sparkled like precious gems, she carried an enigmatic air that made her the topic of fascination and speculation in the town. But beneath her charming facade lay a past shrouded in mystery, a history that few dared to question. Isabella was once the pride of a distant city, her life a tapestry of vivid colors with bright beginnings. But whispered rumors painted a different story, one of abandoned dreams and a trail of broken hearts left in her wake. Her arrival in the town was met with curiosity. Who was this woman, and what brought her here? To her neighbors, she was the devoted wife of Thomas, the unsuspecting husband whose world she would eventually shatter. Together, they appeared the epitome of a happy couple, but those who looked closely could see a subtle tension beneath their polished veneer. Isabella's relationships were a delicate dance of charm and manipulation. Friends fluttered in and out of her life, charmed by her warmth, but often left wondering about the motives hidden behind her poised smile. She played her roles with precision, a skilled actress in everyday life, keeping her true intentions masked even from those she held closest. As for her relationship with Thomas, it became the stage upon which a tragic play would unfold. Isabella was not just a bystander. She was the conductor of a symphony that would crescendo into chaos. Her actions, seemingly innocent, seemed to orchestrate the fateful events leading to an outcome that stunned the town. This was the tale of Isabella, a woman whose mysterious past and captivating presence wove the threads of a dark love triangle, entangling all who came too close to her captivating but perilous charm. Thomas was a man who seemed to fit seamlessly into the rhythm of everyday life, blending into the background like a familiar melody. He was the kind of husband you might pass by in the street without a second glance, yet his life was woven with threads of resilience, integrity, and quiet ambition. Thomas hailed from a lineage of modest roots, where hard work and determination were the cornerstone of his family's values. His upbringing instilled in him a steady determination to succeed, a trait that guided him through every challenge life tossed his way. His career was a testament to his dedication. Thomas had carved out a respected position in the local industry, a steady job that provided not just for his needs, but afforded a comfortable life for him and his beloved Isabella. To his colleagues, Thomas was the epitome of reliability, a man who quietly ensured that everything ran smoothly, never seeking the spotlight but earning respect through deeds rather than words. Yet his life was not without its dreams. Behind his composed demeanor was a man who cherished visions of a peaceful future, dreams shared with Isabella as they envisioned a life brimming with love and laughter. Little did he know, he was standing at the edge of a chasm he could not see, one that would soon engulf those dreams and shatter them beyond repair. As the days turned into nights, small, seemingly inconsequential moments began to weave a larger tapestry of tension and unease. These were moments that Thomas, in his trusting nature, dismissed as mere shadows in the periphery, never imagining that they were pieces of a puzzle leading to his own demise. These subtle shifts in the atmosphere around him were like whispers of an oncoming storm, a storm that would unravel the delicate balance of his world. This was Thomas's world, a life poised on the brink of extraordinary upheaval, a world about to be turned inside out by the very bonds of love and trust he held dear. The third piece of the puzzle was a man named Victor, a figure shrouded in shadows whose enigmatic presence seemed to complicate the lives of Isabella and Thomas. Picture a man whose charismatic charm was rivaled only by the mysterious air of danger that followed him like a whispered secret. Victor entered the scene unexpectedly, woven into their narrative with the deft hand of fate. His arrival in the small town was almost as enigmatic as Isabella's. No one knew precisely where he came from or what brought him there, yet his compelling aura seemed to attract those seeking something beyond the mundane. He was known for his sharp intellect, which he wielded with precision, capable of winning friends and influencing those around him. Victor was a man who thrived in the game of life, enjoying the thrill of the chase and the satisfaction of his own cunning. His motivations were often as clouded as the early morning mist that enveloped the town, leaving people guessing at the man behind the mask. But to those who took the time to look deeper, there was a restlessness in his soul, a hunger for something more, something that perhaps he saw reflected in Isabella's haunted eyes. His connection to Isabella was one forged in quiet corners and whispered secrets, a bond that seemed woven from threads of mutual intrigue and hidden desires. They were drawn to each other like moths to a flame, each seeking something elusive that they couldn't quite define. To Thomas, Victor was a mere acquaintance, a face that seemed to blend into the background of his life. Little did he know, Victor was not just a passerby in their story, but a catalyst, one whose presence would tip the delicate balance of their world. Victor's role in this narrative was not one of mere observer. He was an actor on the stage, playing a part scripted by forces beyond his control. As the storm of jealousy and betrayal gathered, Victor's motivations and actions would come to light, revealing a complex tapestry of choices and consequences that would forever change the lives of all involved. This was Victor, the third piece of a dangerous love triangle, whose alluring yet perilous presence would ignite the fuse leading to an inevitable explosion. Love turns toxic. As we dive into the heart of this tangled web, imagine a connection once vibrant with passion, gradually wilting under the weight of unspoken truths and hidden agendas. The relationship between Isabella, Thomas, and Victor was initially painted with colors of intrigue and allure, but slowly, those hues faded to shades of gray. Isabella and Thomas, who once seemed the quintessential couple, began to unravel like an overly loose thread, pulling at the seams of a delicate garment. Subtle changes in Isabella's demeanor became apparent, a coldness creeping into her once warm and inviting presence. Thomas, ever the trusting soul, sensed the shadow of something amiss. He noticed Isabella's eyes lingering a bit too long on shadows, her mind seemingly lost in thoughts she would not share. The laughter that once echoed through their home grew quieter, replaced by uncomfortable silences and half-hearted smiles. Meanwhile, Victor's magnetic allure became a dangerous beacon, drawing Isabella closer to the cliff's edge. Their secret rendezvous and hushed conversations cast a long shadow over Isabella's marriage. What started as a thrilling escape soon morphed into a toxic entanglement, where each glance exchanged between them seemed laced with danger. The warning signs were like low-hanging storm clouds, punctuated by moments of tension that seemed to flare without warning. Quiet suspicions grew into unspoken accusations, yet Thomas's love blinded him to the gravity of the storm brewing around him. He clung to memories of happier times, dismissing those critical signs as temporary lapses. Yet, in his heart of hearts, he knew something was irrevocably wrong. The pivotal moments were not grandiose. They were the quiet betrayals, the nights spent apart, and the secrets whispered in the dark. Isabella's heart, caught between two poles, began to betray her, as did her actions. It was in these tiny, almost imperceptible shifts that the foundation of their love began to crack, setting the stage for catastrophe. The once vibrant tapestry of their lives now bore the frayed edges of betrayal, weaving the threads of love, deceit, and impending doom. This is how love, once pure, turned into a poisonous force, ultimately leading them toward a fate none could have foreseen. The tension builds like a relentless storm, gathering strength over the horizon, its dark clouds swirling with the secrets and lies that threaten to engulf them all. In the small town, where whispers travel faster than the wind, the relationship between Isabella, Thomas, and Victor becomes strained under the weight of deceit. Isabella, torn between her life with Thomas and her dangerous dance with Victor, begins to unravel. Her carefully constructed facade of a perfect life starts to crumble as whispers of manipulation swirl around her like autumn leaves caught in a gust. Those closest to her sense the shift, but she skillfully evades their questions with layers of half-truths and deflected smiles. Thomas, in his quiet world, feels the unease growing like a silent intruder in their home. He watches as Isabella becomes someone he barely recognizes, her laughter now a distant echo of its former self. His heart aches with a longing for the days when they were inseparable, yet the more he tries to reach for those golden memories, the more they slip through his fingers like grains of sand. Victor, the enigmatic third piece of this tangled puzzle, stirs the pot with subtle manipulations, his intentions as murky as the midnight river winding through town. His presence casts a long shadow over Isabella and Thomas's lives, a specter of what could have been and what might still come to pass. In secret corners and hidden moments, Victor and Isabella's interactions are tinged with an electricity powered by danger and desire, each glance between them charged with unspoken promises and potential ruin. As the tension mounts, manipulation becomes the currency of survival for Isabella, who juggles her conflicting emotions with the skill of a seasoned performer. Yet behind the practiced smiles and calculated moves, there is a sadness, a realization that the path she treads is one of inevitable destruction. Thomas's once unshakable trust begins to waver as the signs become impossible to ignore. The whispered phone calls, the late nights, and the distance that stretches like an unbridgeable chasm between them. He finds himself caught in a web spun from lies, each thread a testament to the storm brewing around him. Despite his growing suspicions, he clings to hope, believing that love can weather the fiercest storm, unaware that the tempest threatening to tear them apart is one of their own making. In this escalating dance of deception, all three players are trapped in a narrative spinning rapidly out of control, with Isabella at its volatile heart. And so the tension builds, each secret, each lie, and each act of manipulation, adding fuel to the raging fire that threatens to consume them all, setting the stage for the explosive climax that none of them can foresee. As the storm of emotions swirled around them, each member of this entangled triangle found themselves caught in a maelstrom of jealousy, betrayal, and desperation. Isabella, once the picture of composure, now found herself grappling with the weight of her own conflicting desires. Each glance she exchanged with Victor sent a thrill coursing through her, igniting a fire she could barely contain. Yet the guilt that followed was a relentless shadow, whispering reminders of vows betrayed and the trust she had broken. Her heart ached as she stood at the precipice of her own choosing, torn between the security of her life with Thomas and the dangerous allure that Victor represented. Thomas, on the other hand, felt the sting of betrayal gnawing at the edges of his previously unshakable trust. The man who once radiated quiet confidence now found himself adrift in an ocean of doubt. He watched helplessly as the woman he loved slipped further away, each secretive phone call and each missed dinner a stark reminder of the widening chasm between them. Desperation clawed at him, driving him to seek answers in the silence that now filled their home, but all he found were echoes of the laughter they once shared, now replaced by an emptiness that threatened to consume him. Victor, the catalyst of this emotional storm, found himself navigating a complex web of his own making. His attraction to Isabella was an intoxicating blend of danger and desire, yet even he couldn't escape the tangled emotions that tied him to her. Jealousy reared its head as he watched Isabella wrestle with her feelings for Thomas, and a bitter realization took root within him, that no matter how close they danced to the edge, he might never fully claim her heart. The thrill of the chase was shrouded by a desperation of his own, a longing for a connection that seemed forever out of reach. As these clashing emotions reached a fever pitch, the air grew thick with unspoken words and hidden fears. Each member of this tragic triangle stood on the brink, their emotions a volatile mix that threatened to ignite the tinder of their lives. Jealousy fueled actions they never thought themselves capable of, while betrayal fractured bonds once thought unbreakable. Desperation, in its cruel irony, drove them to choices that sealed their fates, setting the stage for a tragedy that would leave scars beyond measure. Unbeknownst to them, the path they tread now wound unerringly toward a final act none of them could foresee, a crescendo of emotions that would echo far beyond the confines of their small town, altering their lives forever. A plot unfolds. In this tangled web of intrigue and deception, the undercurrents carried a chilling hint of things to come. Beneath the surface of everyday life, the sinister plans began to take shape, weaving danger into the very fabric of their existence. Picture Isabella, torn between the warmth of familiarity with Thomas and the thrill of the unknown with Victor, as her emotions twisted into a complex tapestry of desire and guilt. A dangerous idea began to blossom in the shadows of her mind. It was an idea that whispered of freedom, an insidious voice urging her towards a path that promised escape from her entangled heart. Meanwhile, Victor's presence, once a mere enigmatic puzzle, now bore the weight of something darker. His interactions with Isabella grew increasingly charged with hidden meanings, their secret meetings infused with a tension that thrummed like a tightly wound string. Together they danced around a whispered plan, one that hovered on the edge of their consciousness, both alluring and terrifying. To Thomas, the world seemed to dim. The once vibrant love he shared with Isabella felt like a distant memory, fading with each passing day. The late-night conversations that once bound them drew to a close, replaced by Isabella's hushed tones, speaking into the phone at odd hours. Suspicion began to claw at Thomas's mind, each furtive glance and late-night escapade knitting a pattern that he could not yet decipher. The shadows grew longer as the pieces fell into place, hinting at a deadly outcome none dared to acknowledge. In a moment of quiet resolve, Isabella and Victor's conversations shifted. They spoke not of possibility, but of inevitability, their words a hushed symphony of calculated moves and hidden intentions. A decision had been made, one fraught with danger and the promise of irrevocable change. Suspicious activities dotted the landscape of their lives. A missing ring, a hushed argument overheard by a curious neighbor, and the inexplicable darkness in Isabella's eyes when she thought she was alone. These were the harbingers of a storm brewing just beyond the horizon, each one a piece of the puzzle that would ultimately lead to a night steeped in tragedy. The plot unfolded with the delicate precision of a masterful play, its ending veiled in mystery, yet certain in its fatal trajectory, leaving those involved teetering on the precipice of their own making, inescapably drawn to a finale that loomed heavy in the air. The fatal night descended upon the unsuspecting town like an ominous shroud, the kind of night where even the stars seemed to withhold their light in trepidation. As the clock ticked toward midnight, the world outside lay still, unaware of the storm brewing within the walls of Thomas and Isabella's home. It was a night destined for tragedy, where fate and choice collided in an irreversible dance. Thomas sat at the kitchen table, the warm glow of the lamp casting long shadows against the walls. He had noticed Isabella's absence, a frequent occurrence that had grown more pronounced over the past weeks. This time, however, something felt different, an unsettling quietude that enveloped the house, urging him to find answers to the questions gnawing at his soul. Meanwhile, Isabella, caught in the throes of her internal conflict, found herself standing before Victor in a secluded corner of town. Their whispered discussions and stolen glances had reached a crescendo, each word between them charged with the weight of their plan. In that moment, decisions teetered on the edge of words unspoken, an unbreakable pact hanging in the balance. Back at home, Thomas's unease only deepened. A series of events unfurled with a chilling predictability. The clock chimed softly, a breeze swept through the half-open window, and a fleeting shadow passed just beyond his line of sight. He rose, a sense of urgency propelling him forward, as if some unseen force guided him through the darkness. Unbeknownst to him, the plot spun by Isabella and Victor had taken on a life of their own. Isabella, her heart heavy with a weight she could not fully comprehend, returned home, her mind a tumultuous sea of anxiety and doubt. She hesitated at the doorstep, her hand resting on the doorknob, as if contemplating the threshold between her present and the unknown future. The night wore on, and each tick of the clock felt like an echo of destiny, drawing ever closer. Thomas, driven by a mix of suspicion and love, confronted Isabella, seeking the truth concealed in the shadows of her eyes. Moments passed in tense silence, emotions boiling beneath the surface, until a tempest of words erupted between them, accusations, confessions, and the raw pain of betrayal intertwining in a tapestry of heartbreak. Just as the confrontation reached its zenith, Victor arrived, his appearance a catalyst for the night's tragic climax. The air seemed to crackle with tension, an electric charge signaling the impending storm. In the flickering light, the trio stood ensnared in a web of their own making, the lines between love and betrayal blurring into oblivion. A struggle ensued, the room echoing with raised voices and the sound of shattering glass, a chaotic symphony of desperation and fear. In the end, fate dealt its cruel hand, leaving the echoes of violence lingering in the silence that followed. Thomas lay motionless, the life snuffed out of him by the very forces he had failed to see. The night had claimed its due, and Isabella and Victor were left to grapple with the consequences of choices that could never be undone. It was a night that altered the course of their lives forever, painting the town with a stain of tragedy that would not easily be erased. As dawn broke upon the horizon, the once vibrant house stood eerily silent, a haunting reminder of the night love turned deadly, marking the beginning of the town's long journey to uncover the truth hidden in the shadows. The investigation begins in the hush of early morning, as the town awakens to the news of a tragedy that has shattered the illusion of their quiet community. Authorities descend upon the scene with a mix of urgency and solemnity, their presence marking the beginning of a quest for truth, buried amidst tangled emotions and deceit. As flashing lights cast an eerie glow over the house, investigators meticulously comb through the aftermath of the fatal night, each detail lending a voice to the silent walls that witnessed the harrowing events. Inside, the whispers of broken lives linger like ghosts, hinting at the secrets that may yet be uncovered. Detectives soon gather a plethora of evidence, the starting point of an intricate puzzle: the shattered glass, the overturned furniture, and the chilling silence of a home once filled with life. Key witnesses, including neighbors who heard fragments of turmoil, and Victor, who remains a shadowy presence, are called upon to piece together the narrative of that fateful night. As the days unfold, early theories begin to take shape. Some suggest a crime of passion, driven by emotions that spiraled out of control, while others hint at a more sinister plot woven from the threads of betrayal and hidden motives. The circle widens to include those who knew Isabella and Thomas, each new interview offering glimpses into the complexity of their relationship and the storm that surrounded it. The investigators face a daunting task, sifting through layers of deception and truth to untangle the web spun by love gone awry. Forensic experts meticulously analyze every fiber and fingerprint, seeking answers hidden in the smallest of details, while detectives chase leads that wend their way through alleys of speculation and fact. Isabella emerges as a key figure, her presence a focal point of inquiry as authorities seek to understand what drove the events that led to Thomas's untimely death. Each question posed to her, though simple in form, holds the weight of lives altered and futures rewritten. Victor, too, falls under scrutiny, his enigmatic nature adding to the mystery of a case that defies easy categorization. As the investigation deepens, The town holds its collective breath, caught in the balance between what is known and the truth that still lies hidden in the shadows. In this atmosphere of uncertainty, one thing is clear: the path to justice is fraught with complexities that reflect the tangled emotions at the heart of this tragic story. With each piece of evidence and every testimony, the investigators edge closer to the truth, determined to unveil the sequence of decisions that turned love's gentle embrace into an unyielding grip of fate. The unfolding inquiry promises revelations that could change perceptions and open wounds on a community now bound to the echoes of a fatal love triangle. As the investigation delves deeper, it begins to peel back layers of secrecy that had long veiled the true dynamics within the tangled relationships. Hidden beneath the surface was a web of deceit that defied the outward appearances of a simple love triangle. Detectives uncover a trove of messages exchanged between Isabella and Victor, each word heavy with subtext and a shared understanding of their clandestine bond. These exchanges reveal a relationship far more intertwined than even the closest observers had imagined, an affair steeped in secrecy, yes, but also in mutual dependence and shared ambitions. Yet the most astonishing revelation emerges from Isabella's personal diaries, where she meticulously recorded her innermost thoughts and fears. In these pages, she confessed to feelings of entrapment in her marriage to Thomas, juxtaposed with a yearning for the freedom that Victor seemed to symbolize. Her words paint a picture not just of a woman torn between two men, but of one grappling with the very essence of her identity and desires amidst the confines of societal expectations. As investigators connect the dots, it becomes evident that Victor, though enigmatic, played a pivotal role in fanning the flames of discontent. His promises of a life unfettered by the ordinary held a dangerous allure for Isabella, who found herself caught in a conflict between duty and passion. It is through these revelations that the investigators begin to see the outlines of a possible motive, one driven not solely by passion, but by a desperate quest for liberation from the chains of an unfulfilling life. The community, as it learns of these secrets, is forced to reconsider everything they thought they knew about Isabel and Thomas's seemingly perfect life. These shocking revelations gradually unveil the intricate layers of a story far more complicated than a simple crime of passion, casting new light on the motivations that drove it to its inevitable, tragic conclusion. As the community grapples with these truths, the narrative of the love triangle transforms into a cautionary tale, reminding everyone of the unseen depths that often lie beneath the surface of human relationships. The trial that captivated a nation unfurled like a grand theatrical performance, with a courtroom as its stage and the nation as its audience, riveted by the unfolding drama. It was a case that had all the elements of a gripping narrative: love, betrayal, and a dark secret that twisted lives into an unimaginable fate. From the very first day, the courtroom was packed with eager spectators and journalists from far and wide, each one hungry for a glimpse into the lives shattered by a sinister love triangle. Isabella stood at the center of this storm, her composure a mask over the turmoil within. Opposite her, Victor's enigmatic presence loomed large, his charismatic demeanor a stark contrast to the somber atmosphere of the proceedings. As the trial progressed, dramatic testimonies painted vivid pictures of relationships pushed to their breaking points. Neighbors recounted moments filled with tension, whispers of arguments carried through thin walls, and glimpses of heated encounters that hinted at the tumult beneath the surface. Friends of Isabella and Thomas gave their accounts, each testimony tinged with emotion, as they spoke of a couple that had seemed so perfect, yet was so fractured within. The evidence presented was both compelling and chilling, a tapestry woven from the small but telling details that had been painstakingly gathered. Diaries and messages emerged as silent witnesses, their contents as revealing as they were damning. Isabella's own words provided a lens into her heart, while Victor's communications laid bare a plan entwined with desire and desperation. Forensic experts detailed their findings with precision, spinning narratives from shards of glass and fingerprints left behind. Public perception of the case was a reflection of the emotional storm captured within the courtroom. Media outlets painted the trial in broad strokes, their headlines capturing the nation's imagination with tales of forbidden love and dark ambition. As the trial wore on, opinion divided sharply along lines of sympathy and judgment. Some saw Isabella as a victim of her own dream for liberation, led astray by Victor's alluring promises. Others perceived her as a conspirator in a calculated act of betrayal, seduced by the idea of a life untethered from the bounds of her marriage. The trial's proceedings became fodder for intense debate, sparking discussions that spanned social gatherings and intimate conversations alike. As the prosecution laid bare its case and the defense sought to counter each point with fervor, the nation watched, spellbound by the real-life drama playing out before them. Each day brought new revelations, twists, and turns that kept a captivated audience on the edge of their seats, eager for the next chapter in this tragic saga. In this crucible of justice, the truth of a love triangle's destructive power slowly came to light, echoing the somber reminder that the line between love and betrayal is often perilously thin. As the trial reached its crescendo, all eyes were fixed on the courtroom, awaiting a verdict that would reverberate far beyond its walls, leaving an indelible mark on the hearts and minds of those who watched from afar. The spotlight of the nation turned with intense curiosity toward the small town turned stage of a high-stakes drama. Reporters descended like moths to a flame, cameras and pens at the ready, capturing every nuance of the trial that had captivated the public's imagination. The media, with its insatiable appetite for drama, painted the unfolding events with broad strokes, turning a personal tragedy into a story as compelling as any fiction. Headlines screamed of a love triangle gone awry, each detail magnified to fit neatly into a sensational narrative. With each new revelation that emerged in the courtroom, the media seized upon it, weaving stories that blurred the lines between fact and conjecture, casting Isabella, Thomas, and Victor into roles that would follow them far beyond the confines of the judicial process. Isabella was portrayed alternately as a tragic heroine caught in a web of her own making, or as a cold-hearted conspirator orchestrating a tragedy with calculated precision. Victor became the archetypal shadowy figure, the enigmatic outsider whose influence led to disaster. The public, consuming these narratives as eagerly as a gripping novel, found itself divided. Heated debates erupted in living rooms and online forums, each person interpreting the stories through their own lens of understanding, emotions heightened by the media's portrayal. This tide of public opinion ebbed and flowed, at times casting Isabella in a sympathetic light, at others painting her as the architect of her own downfall. The trial, in turn, responded to this external pressure, its course subtly influenced by the current of public sentiment. As characters and motivations were scrutinized under this glaring media lens, the trajectory of the proceedings bent in ways unforeseen, as each side in the courtroom sought to sway not just the jury, but the wider world watching with bated breath. Witnesses became media darlings or pariahs overnight, their testimonies dissected for clues, their credibility built up or torn down by the fickle winds of public perception. The narrative spun by journalists seeped into every corner of the trial, coloring perceptions and framing the outcome in the court of public opinion long before the official verdict was pronounced. In this environment, where the media's voice echoed louder than ever, the trial's trajectory transformed into an intricate dance of truth and storytelling, a cautionary tale of how the pursuit of sensationalism can shape the fate of those ensnared in its web. And as the world watched, transfixed by the unfolding drama, the line between justice and entertainment blurred, leaving behind a reminder of the power held by those who spin the stories that capture our collective imagination. The verdict came as a hushed whisper, carried by the air that now felt heavy with the tension of 1,000 unspoken words. The courtroom, a stage of high drama, seemed to hold its breath as the jury filed back in, their expressions a canvas of solemn determination. The nation, watchers of this gripping tale, leaned in closer, eyes fixed upon the scene that would decide the fate of Isabella and Victor. In this pivotal moment, the weight of their choices became tangible, a silent testament to the intricate dance between love and betrayal that had led them here. As the judge read the jury's decision, a palpable silence settled over the room, a moment suspended in time that seemed to stretch across the gulf of expectation. Isabella was found guilty, her dreams of a life unchained shattered by the cold reality of her actions, while Victor, though not convicted, bore the burden of his own choices, a freedom laden with the shadow of moral consequence. The courtroom erupted in a cacophony of emotions. Some wept for the lives irreparably altered, while others sighed with relief, a verdict that to them tasted of justice served. Yet outside these walls, the reverberations of this judgment echoed through the lives of those who had been caught in its wake. For Isabella, the aftermath was a haunting reminder of the path she had chosen, each day behind bars a reflection of a freedom she would now never taste. Her narrative of liberation, once so vivid, now dimmed to the harsh reality of confinement. Within her solitude, there lingered the specter of what might have been, and the unwavering truth of her lost love and dashed dreams. Victor, though spared the harshest penalties, found himself navigating a world forever altered by his part in this tragic tale. His freedom, though intact, was now bound by a societal judgment that followed him like a shadow, a constant reminder of the role he had played. He wandered through life carrying the weight of decisions that could not be undone, the road ahead marked by a solitude born not from external bars, but internal chains. For the community, this case offered no easy resolutions. It was a reminder of the fragility of human relationships, of how quickly a life steeped in love could turn deadly. Neighbors and friends, who once saw only the surface of a marriage, now grappled with the complexities hidden beneath, each interaction tinged with a newfound wariness. The town, once quiet, would forever bear the scars of this dark narrative, a cautionary tale whispered in hushed tones, a reminder of the hidden depths within the human heart. As these echoes settled into daily life, the question remained, was justice truly served, or was it merely a balm for a community eager to find closure. The lingering impact of this verdict stretched beyond those directly involved, touching lives with a subtle hand, a shadow that would fade over time, but never truly disappear. In this tale of love's darkest corners, the line between justice and consequence blurred, weaving a narrative that left a lasting imprint on all who bore witness to Isabella's fateful love triangle. In summary, the tragic tale of a love triangle gone awry reminds us of the delicate yet volatile nature of human emotions and relationships. Isabella, Thomas, and Victor became entangled in a web of desire, betrayal, and longing, leading to a cascade of events that irrevocably changed their lives and those around them. This narrative serves as a haunting reminder of how easily love can blur into obsession and how quickly trust can dissolve into suspicion. In this story, we witness how the pursuit of passion can spiral into decisions that cast long shadows on the lives we cherish. It is a narrative that invites us to reflect on the hidden complexities of our own relationships and the choices we make in the name of love. As we close this chapter, we encourage you to ponder the intricate dance between love and fate. We invite you to share your thoughts in the comments below, your theories, your reflections, or perhaps your own encounters with the mysterious terrain of human emotions. What do you think drives people to the edges of their hearts, and how might we learn from the choices faced by Isabella, Thomas, and Victor? Join the conversation and help us unravel the ever-enigmatic human condition. And if this exploration into the shadows of love has captured your curiosity, do not forget to subscribe, like the video, and hit the notification bell to join us on more journeys into the mysterious and dark corners of human stories. Your engagement fuels our quest to uncover the narratives that resonate with the deepest parts of our shared human experience.